Sam McAlpin here at Life Chapel with Jason and Dana Cash, founders and sole operators of Cash Family Ministries and the Stronger Together marriage conferences. Dana, Jason, thank you for your time today. How has your weekend been, and did you enjoy the snow?
Yes, we did. We played out in it all weekend pretty much. We had a big time.
Awesome. What about you?
I loved it. We had super cool times with our friends. My heart has been very warm this weekend with all the time together with friends, with our kids making so many memories that they're not going to forget them.
I enjoyed the snow a lot. Did you have any friends that you were like, oh man, they're really, really naturals in the snow?
Oh, yes. We have this one friend. She's really a super snowboarder. She's natural born. We call her Vicky Tsunami.
Vicky Tsunami. That's wild. That's awesome. She must have been really good at it.
Yeah.
Before we start asking questions and stuff about what you do, like it's a little formal. We're sitting here together, but I do want to make sure and say that as a friend, and even from the outside looking in, it's a real joy getting to observe your relationship, both as a couple and as parents. And me, my wife, my kids, we greatly enjoy the time that we get to be around you and your family. It's awesome, and it's a blessing for us because it's not all the time that you just get to enjoy, downtime with friends, and y'all are a joy to be around. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Y'all are a joy to be around too.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. So to sort of break the ice, yeah, he did that. If you will, how did you both meet? What was the scenario for the folks at home that don't know? I'm sure they would love to hear a little bit of the story of how you met each other.
You go first.
Me go first?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we met at church. We had talked on the phone first, but we met through a mutual acquaintance. We met at church in Geraldine. And sweetest thing that I can say about when we met is when I pulled in the parking lot at the church, I was thinking, which one is he? Which one is he? Because we didn't send all these pictures and stuff to know what each other looks like.
Oh, man.
And so there's this guy standing there, and he's grinning real big, and he's looking, and he's doing this little sway thing, like special. It's a special thing he does, and he only does it when it's me walking. He did the same thing when I walked down the aisle to meet him on our wedding day. That was very special to me. So when he does that, it's really, I don't know, it's just one of those things like that I love about him.
So who was attracted to who first?
I think I was attracted to her first.
Okay.
And I mean, after we met there at church, we went and eat at Crossville. They had a little Chinese restaurant then, and now I think no, it's not. But the Chinese restaurant closed down. But anyways, while we was in there eating, I mean, she didn't just poke around at her food or nothing. She just eat. We talked and laughed like normal, and I was like, my goodness. And what was impressive was our acquaintance that hooked us up. The day she went to go talk to her acquaintance, she had a flat tire, and she changed her own flat tire. And I'm like, my goodness, this girl's changed her own flat tire.
This is it.
We go,
Four-wheel drive truck.
Yeah,
I
on
was
a-
sitting
yeah.
on the tire.
Ford. She had a Ford F-150,
Hadn't done it since.
and
He wouldn't make you do
she
it.
was very independent. And so I was like, what's this girl changes her own tire? We'll go out and eat, and she just eats in front of him, beats herself. I'm like, my
Because I
goodness.
dated too long.
And
Not
and
doing that
so
no more.
it wasn't too long, man. I just loved her, and I said, I love you. And she wouldn't say nothing back. And I said, hey, you left me hanging. She says, well, I just don't want to say it to be saying it. I won't say it till I mean it. So, I mean, it wasn't long after that. She told me she loved me back. I appreciate that honesty. And instead of just, I mean, that's the way she's been. She's been true. And she wasn't going to be fake about nothing. And I just love it. And
But tell them why you say you married me. Tell
Wait.
them.
yes.
Wait, don't get there yet. Don't get there yet. You hold on to that.
yes, I know. That's what
Don't
I
get there
say.
yet. Don't get there yet.
Sorry.
So
I
is
knew
she
it was
still as
coming. I
independent?
can't wait to tell y'all how I know.
Is she still as independent, or do you have you nipped that in the bud a little
Well,
bit?
she is still independent. And she will tell you she gave up independence. And that was kind of a struggle because I was going to do things for her. And she wouldn't want me to do things. She wanted to do it on her own. But then now, since we got married and get relaxed on things, that some things I don't do, she's like, hey, uh,
Why
I
are you
said,
doing that?
yeah, why ain't you doing what you used to do? And I'm like, well, you're independent. Well, and so she'd say, don't start something unless you're going to keep doing it. So we kind of say that to one another. And, in relationships and all that, that's kind of, you're all about impressing one another. Or I was all about impressing her about me. And then as time goes on, you get slack on doing stuff you didn't do. And that's why it's important to, do what you did and keep that spark going through life, because life does happen and you do get laxed and get to focusing on other things going around, not so much one another.
Amen.
And just a thought, when I was, when we met, and I was super independent, but I was independent because I grew up in a broken home, and my mother and I were just us two. I lived with her. It was just us two for a long time. And so my dad wasn't there. My brother was married, out of the house. And so sometimes we relied on each other to do a lot of things. And so I gained a lot of independence there. We had friends that would step in and help, and we were very greatly appreciative, but I just wasn't used to that treatment when I met Jason out. And so it was a big adjustment for me. Today I can say, I'm not as independent. There's been a life situation that showed me I'm not as independent, but I'm thankful for that because, we're together and we work together, so it helps.
That's the good stuff. Jason, you said y'all were introduced by a mutual friend. How did you begin the courting process? How did you start attempting to date Miss Dana? How'd that look?
Well, first started going to her house, and so being older and all that, and I hadn't been dating in a long time. That was pretty much like a date for me to go over to her house, and she says, and then one day we done that for a while, for a week or so, and she's like, look, if you're gonna date me, you need to start taking me out somewhere. And so I mean, me, we're a lot like opposites on everything. She likes to go, and her philosophy is, God has made all this beautiful stuff, we need to go see it. And I'm kind of like, let's kind of hang out home, but she likes to go, and I kind of like stay, but I like going too now. I like going with her, so we'll go out on little adventures, and we go out on dates, and I mean, and it's important too, since we've been married, to keep dating, and that's one thing you kind of, when you start getting kids and you working, and maybe your wife's working and the kids, and it's so easy to get caught up in that rut and not spending time with yourself. But it's been spending time together is very important. And
Hey, tell them what I told you though when I said, that I'm good enough. You can take me out places. What did I say though? Do you remember?
No, what did you say?
I told you I'm not an expensive date.
Oh,
that you could
yeah.
even just take me to McDonald's.
Yes, and I mean,
or to the park, right?
But
and have a picnic.
Yes,
I did tell
but
you
that was so amazing. Our first date. Let me tell you about our first date. We went and we eat at a Mexican restaurant up above Stevenson there at Kimball. So on our way there, I believe actually she drove to work and I got off work, and we drove up to Kimball to eat. And on the way up, I was seeing these green fireworks just going off, because there's firework places up there that make them sell them. I don't know. But anyways, there was somebody trying out some fireworks. So there's fireworks going on. And we got up there and we was eating, and my goodness, she was so appreciative. She said, this is so good. This food is so good. I had never eaten here, and thank you so much for this. And she was always so thankful. We always had a good time when we went out. And
I should do that more now.
and so that was our first date. We went out and eat. We went there, and we didn't have dessert there, and there was a Cracker Barrel, so we went over to the Cracker Barrel and had apple dumpling,
Yep.
and we had dessert, and then so that was our first date, and so we got back. We just had a simple date, but yes, simple. It's the simple stuff that seems to
Matter the most.
matter the most. Yes.
Dana, how did you see the courting process going? Like, what did you see from your eyes? And when did you start returning the newfound affection and attention?
Oh wow! I mean, I was pretty smitten from the beginning. I won't lie. He was a good guy. One thing that really impressed me with him is the day he met my brother. My brother's really tall. He's a football player, linebacker, and he stuck his hand out to shake Jason's hand, and Jason shook his hand. And I'd been around some guys that they weren't like that. They wasn't brave enough, I guess, just to stick their hand out. But anyways, that was very impressive to me. Another thing, my dad, God rest his soul, was he was a little short guy, redheaded. I mean, like a little banty rooster. He was, and he was very protective of his daughter. And so he would talk big, on the phone. And so Jason's expecting to meet this guy, kind of like my brother, real tall and muscular, but he was kind of short and stocky. But it was so funny. So my dad actually fell in love with Jason. So my dad would actually tell me to be nice to him.
Dana, I'm gonna back it up. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. When did you know that you were gonna marry Jason? What was that moment like for you? That exact moment. And if you don't have an exact moment, at least a general ballpark.
Okay. So I don't know. We were probably a few months in, probably about 3 or 4 months in, and he just because he was always there. It was always. What can I do for you? What can I do for your mom? How can I help y'all? He was not one to turn me away from doing things. He was very patient to help me do it. Like if it was working on something or mowing the yard, he's got some really good stories about me and the lawnmower. I'm not,
My wife does too.
But I guess it was probably around then, he's always really liked to make me nervous about the whole thing. Because I always said, when I was younger, I said, I'm never getting married. Like, I'm never getting married. I just didn't want to get married. Because I had such a, not as good of an example, I guess. I won't say totally poor, but wasn't the best example set forth. And so I really didn't know if I ever wanted to get married until I met him. And then I'm like, yeah, I think I can marry this guy and live with him. So
look at you, got his head swelling up over there. He's feeling good.
Bowed out chest, maybe.
Yeah, he feels big now. Jason, when did you say, man, I'm going to marry this lady? This is the woman I'm going to marry.
This is going to sound really cheesy, but I knew the day we met that I'd end up marrying her. And for the fact, I've been waiting to tell you all this. I wanted to tell you so much in the beginning. When we was eating there at the Chinese restaurant, they had these pictures on the wall, and there's a picture of this cat on the wall there. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if maybe that was somebody's cat here and somebody ended up cooking it, and maybe that's some in-memory picture. And all of a sudden, I seen Dana look at that picture, and she says, reckon that cat's on the menu. And I knew right then, that's the girl. That's the girl.
That was
she
it.
said that. Because I hadn't even mentioned about the cat. And she mentioned that about that cat picture. And I was like,
that was the icebreaker.
Oh, done. Yeah. Game's over. She said, look, put a ring on it. We are getting married. We're ready. I like it. That's hilarious. That's funny. That's a beautiful story. So how long have y'all been together once the kids came along? What was that journey like? I know in my opinion, it's harder on the lady. They do the hard part of the childbirthing process. That's really it scares me to death for my wife when we were doing it, and it just makes me realize all the time how much I appreciate her. And I can't see anything about I can't see childbirth and stuff on movies and things. It's just it makes me hurt because I know it makes, I know it hurt her, and it's really, really, it's just hard. So what was the journey? What was that journey like? And then tell us a little bit about the children.
Okay. Want me to go?
Yeah, you can start.
He said you did it.
Okay. I did. I did.
Yeah.
Jesus did for sure.
Amen.
So how long have we been together? We've been married for 12 years. We've been together for 14. Ish, I guess, maybe less. But we've been married for 12. So, we waited a couple of years before we had children. We started praying about it. We knew we wanted a child. And we started praying and asking God, we want a child, help us out, Well, we were a few days before Christmas, I guess it was. And I'm thinking, I think I'm pregnant. I take a test, and it was positive. Well, I'm like, I can't tell him that over the phone. And I can't tell my mom over the phone. And I'm thinking, I got to tell somebody. The funny thing about that was I picked my brother. And I call him and I'm like, hey, I'm pregnant. And he's like, why? Have you told Jason? I'm like, no. I'm like, I can't tell Jason yet. I'm like, I can't tell him over the phone. And he's like, you need to tell Jason. I'm like, I will tell Jason. So that was kind of funny. So then I tell Jason, of course, I think I wrapped that, and I think I went to Cracker Barrel. Yes, I did. I went to Cracker Barrel. I got a bib that said my first read off. I wrapped it and wrapped the pregnancy test and gave him that. And that's how I told him I was pregnant.
Oh.
Okay, so we're before Christmas. Okay, they want you to wait till you're about 6 weeks before you go to your first appointment. So that just so happened to be December 26th.
Day after Christmas.
So my cousin, she was doing gymnastics at the time. And so I was going with my aunt to I think it was Tuscaloosa. I think that we're going to a gymnastics meet. Okay. Now I had been for my appointment and I knew it was twins. So we go to this meet and we happened to go by a Cracker Barrel because I was like, oh, what if I get another bib and wrap that and give him the other bib to let him know there's two babies? Well, I couldn't find another bib. So I went out on Faith and bought some bloomers that said, I love Santa. They're girl bloomers. And so I'm like, I really hope one of these is a girl. So I and to this day, I really wish I could remember the lady's face or name at Cracker Barrel in Tuscaloosa so I could share this story with her because she was so, it just warmed her heart hearing about it because I explained to her how I bought the bib, and now I was buying the bloomers and how I was going to wrap them with the little picture of that it was twins, Funny thing is he kind of had already guessed that it was twins because...
But not really.
I mean, when I met him, I ate in front of him because I got tired of when you're going on that first date and the girl's like, oh, don't eat much in front of him. Well, I was like, forget this. I'm going to eat. If he don't like that, then he's not the guy for me, So I ate. So anyways, Christmas night, we usually would go to my aunt's house. It's my mom's sister. We'd go spend time with them. So we go like normal. Well, normally Christmas time, who don't fill their plate up and eat it and get full, right? Okay. I wasn't full. So I went back for a second plate and I'm going like, what is wrong with me? I eat a second plate and he's over here like she's never eat that much. At this point, we'd been already married for 2 years. He knows me. So he's like, man, I bet you're full now. I said, actually, I could probably eat a cheeseburger. And he's like, no way. I'm like, I ain't kidding. And so we left there. And he's like, well, Waffle House is probably open. We drove all the way down. We were in Fort Payne. And we drove from Fort Payne. We drove to Boaz to Waffle House. And I ate a cheeseburger and fries that night. And he's like, I think you got twins in there. I'm like, no.
That was it.
Well, next day, here I go. find out it's twins. I get this bloomers, and I drove all the way from, we came back from Tuscaloosa, and I don't remember if I met my aunt or went to her house. Regardless, we get back to my vehicle. I drive from there all the way to Stevenson to where he works and met him there and let him open that gift. And all he could say
I was
is
getting aggravated because I was so excited. She's going to her appointment, and I'm like, okay, she's going to send me a little picture of a little cashew or something there, and so I wouldn't get no picture, and I'm like, all right, what'd the doctor say? And she would never really tell me, and I'm like getting aggravated. I'm like, why is she not sending me no picture? Why is she not sending me nothing? And then finally she texted and she said, meet me at McDonald's after work. And McDonald's is just right down the hill from work there. So I met there at work, and she gave me the picture, and it was 2. And I was like, twins. I said, I can't believe it's twins. And I wasn't really scared. I was excited through the whole process. And she was like worried about everything. And I have to say, I don't know. I just had this peace within me. Everything was okay, But, because the Lord, He's always seemed to be with us. He's always seemed to be with me and help me out when I needed Him. Whenever He didn't have to be, but He was there. Even when I wasn't doing right, He still bailed me out of stuff. And I know it was Him. And I just had this peace, and I was excited then.
He was super excited. I was excited too, but I was scared. So my mom said that's the first time she ever seen me laugh and cry at the same time. Because the sonogram tech, she looks over and she's like, how do you feel about twins? And so that was my reaction, laughing and crying at the same time. My reaction was I was super excited, but I was scared to death. Because now, not only did I have to bring one baby home and keep it alive, I had to bring 2. And so I'm like, really? He had a lot of confidence in me. Now, what it's like after that, now, again, we do have twins. So it's a lot of work. It's the most hardest, most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. But in a marriage standpoint, 1 child to 10 children, it brings hardships. It brings difficulties. It brings routine. And I think that's the biggest thing that changed for us was we got in this routine that kind of led into a rut. And I remember we were just like at each other, just frustrated and just couldn't get it worked out, couldn't get along. And so what do? I go to my mom and I'm like, Mama, I don't know. I'm like, this is crazy. And she's like really calm. And she says, how long's it been since y'all been on a date? And I'm like, ooh, it'd been a minute. And so at that point, that spoke volumes to us, which is what led into Stronger Together. We know what it's like to get in a rut. We know what it's like to have hardships, with or without kids. I mean, when you come together in marriage, you're coming together in unity. That brings, you're not alone. You got moms and dads and brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and cousins. You got families that unite together too as well. And so you just never know what tomorrow brings, and you have to put a lot of faith in Jesus. So. Well,
that's right. And I don't know, I shouldn't say you have people, but maybe sometimes when I've seen people that's like marriage counselors or something, and myself, I think, I bet they got the perfect marriage or they're the perfect husband. Look, I'm not no perfect husband. She's not no perfect wife. Our kids ain't perfect. Our family's not perfect. But nobody's perfect.
That's right.
But we do realize, and the family's under attack. Satan, our enemy, he's attacking the family more than any time, if not now. I mean, it's under attack. And it's important to stick together. And you can can be stronger together, and try to work and do the right thing is what we're about.
Yeah.
We're not perfect, and we know it. We're not claimed to be. Everybody goes through stuff, and we just kind of want to be there for encouragement, to
Walk
help,
beside people.
and walk beside people. We're not here because we say we got it all figured out. No, we just here to help people along
Yeah.
and try to be encouragement and to be there, because that's what people's been to us through this at times when we needed it.
Yeah.
And one thing I just want to say, like, uh, we tried to do the right thing to go to like marriage counseling and stuff before we got married, and
Just didn't seem to work out, did it?
no, they was just like, well, what do you think? And we told them how we believed that we was doing devotions and reading the Bible together and all that. And he said, well, look, y'all are doing the right things. There really ain't nothing. He said, what I suggest is at least once a week, if it's nowheres other than McDonald's or just getting out and riding around in the car, spend some time together and just be able to talk a little bit. And like once a quarter, take a long weekend and once a year, make sure you go on a family vacation and time together. That's right, because it's so easy to become disconnected. It's so easy to get in a rut, and it's so easy, like, you work, she works, the kids in school, come home, you got work to do when you get home, and then where's all the time go? It goes in a hurry, and before you know it,
Fast.
you're not even, you say good night and in the bed,
day's
and that's
gone.
about
That's
it.
right.
Yeah. So
Sometimes you're too, I mean, especially having twins, you get home, you've been through the routine, especially feeding babies, and, you're taking shifts, and you're just tired, and you just maybe, oh my goodness, I didn't even hug him, I didn't kiss him, I didn't even ask him how his day was, and that it brings a feeling to a mom or a wife, that you're like, oh, ouch, and that's where we just all have to be intentional about things. We've found some ways to do that. The Focus on Family has a app actually that will help you be intentional. It's called the Love Nudge app, and it'll help you be intentional. You can set your own goals. If you want to kiss him or hug him or date him, I mean, whatever, you can put that stuff in. That's helped us a lot, just to refocus. Stepping away. That really is a big thing, like stepping away, and you have kids, and that, Sam, that it's just a really good way to connect to your wife, because when them kids are there in your face going like, daddy, 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 mama, 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 look at this, look what I did, or can you come play with me, can you do this, can we watch a movie?
They're fighting.
500,000 things a day, and you're like, wow, okay, but there's not a lot of time for mama, right? So it helps to have that time and people in your life that can provide that for you, that you can have that time together to just get away and love on each other, and really talk to each other and have wholesome conversation. Because that was one of our big things with the girls is they want our attention. Any kid does. And that is great. But when you're trying to have a financial conversation, that's not a great time to be interrupted sometimes. And you're just like, So we've learned, we've made notes on date night, just to write things down and say, we need to talk about this. This is something that's important right now in our family life, and we got to talk about it.
Right.
So that's been interesting. Just learning to navigate was difficult. Even today, I won't tell you that today it's not difficult, because it is, for me especially, just learning how to balance all that, everything you're doing in life, whether it's your job or, we have a lot of things going on, and just finding that time to say, hey, we need to set that, so we put it on the calendar, and having twins, there was a time, I mean, it was like, whew, I just went through a lot, my body went through a lot, and I'm like, is there something wrong with me?